All right, everybody, welcome back. This is going to be episode 10 of the Outcast Haven podcast. We're going to be going over Fab tonight, and big point that we're going to hit on is going to be our experience playing with some Aussies. It wasn't like the Olympics of Fab, so people that think that they're the best in the world or best in the U.S., like, don't freak out. It was just us playing some friends. Just happened to be from Australia. So, and yeah, that was that was sass. And then we're also going to be touching on just kind of some random points that have come up since the release of Crucible. It's been, we've had 3 weeks or so with it now in our hands and had time to play it. I think we want to talk about what we think got, the most help, the least amount of help, some outside of the country perspectives as well that helped us quite a bit playing those Australian bastards that made us look real bad, but it's fine. And
we didn't lose them all.
We did not lose every game. And I've never had so much fun losing because they're such good dudes. Like, they were so helpful, like, just talking us through, like,
interesting.
I mean, I think I needed less help than you guys, so you guys probably got more out of it.
Wow.
But also it didn't help that, like, I was playing Ninja and no one was playing Ninja, and Dave, he played Ninja, but not this set. So he gave me some definitely good advice for playing into Wizard because that's what he was playing. But yeah, that's just me being cocky. And then we'll just talk about games in general that we've been playing this last week and how the stream and locals and everything's been going. So hope you enjoy. All right, so talking about our experience playing the Aussies. Who wants to go first? Who wants to kick her off? I don't know much about Blake's experience, like, actually into each of the matches that you played. So if you want to just give us, like, a quick recap, I haven't heard much from you.
Yeah, so I played Toby and his Ranger deck into my Dorinthia Warrior. I will say that after playing Ranger that way, I had started to build Ranger. I had played it a couple times against my wife, who will pilot my Dorinthia deck really well and pummel me with it no matter what I'm trying to play into it. And after playing Toby's deck, I basically just took my Ranger apart and started over, because the only things I had right, it felt like, were the specializations, which were basically given to me by the game designers. So a lot of that came down just to the fact that
specializations used.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, those all the same. Okay.
Yeah. So that was, I had that one completely on lockdown, but playing into that was very different. I think a lot of it was his play style, handling the deck, piloting it so clean, and he played it definitely more aggro than me and showed me how to do that. And then I got to play Harry and his Dorinthia Warrior. And again, that deck I felt better about. I felt like I had a good chunk of Dorinthia right, and then he basically helped me clean up some of the nonsense and then just showed me the little things that I was doing wrong piloting the deck. He said that effectively I was playing the deck the way he played it when he first started, and then he saw the light and played other people and had a chance to pilot it a lot. And I think as a result, we're able to play better now, not because we're infinitely better players, but because we got a kind of a free time skip in our play. We got to sit down with people who know the game really well and have had a ton of time playing it and gave us a lot of help. And then my third matchup, I got us our only not loss, which, just by the way, is technically a win, because if you go on to the Fab TCG, my profile has a W. So
everyone uses that as gospel for all standings, for sure.
It is. I have a W. I'm not ranked in the US, but I have a W.
Jason's eating this up. I'm gonna do this all night.
I'll be here all night.
No, so I think that to our credit a little bit, like, I know that we kind of been ragging on ourselves for just getting our butts kicked, or maybe it's just been me, I don't know, but I do think that time skips that you mentioned, like, being able to sit down with people that have had a ton of experience in the game, is super helpful. But also just the amount of games that we grind for DBS, that we've played in Destiny, that we play for this game. Like, how many games do you think you get in a week for this game? Like, I'm 15 to 20 easy, probably a week. Yeah. Like, just the amount that we play, I feel like we really can utilize that advice, which is nice, right? So being able to get online and actually be able to implement that, because we were up as soon as we stopped playing them, because we played last Friday night, and I think we got done playing them at like what 10:30, 11,
Yeah.
and
something like that.
then we were all up
Well,
for like another hour and a half.
we BS'd with them for like 45 minutes when we got
afterwards,
done as well.
yeah, just like random conversation.
And then we stayed on to I rebuilt Wizard right away.
Yep.
Then they had to get their day started, and we were like, "Well, I'm not going to bed until I fix this deck now." So we all stayed up. And
I rebuilt both of my decks on the DB that night. I was like laying in bed with my phone, just like swapping out cards.
What about you, Jason?
I played Bravo, thinking that I could stay alive long enough, and with the new Bravo, and this will roll into what we'll talk about later. I mean, it's okay, but I feel like the creep the other decks got, it's much harder to play. And my play style and Bravo are not getting along very well right now. He wants to go so ultra slow, and I just want to go just a touch faster than ultra slow. Like
no,
maybe
you want to go fast.
faster.
You're Ricky Bobby, dude. Like you
want to go fast,
dude.
This is for you, Harry.
Of playing control.
And you're gonna have to bleep this out. You, Harry. I come at you with 19 and you block 16 of it. Who does that?
My favorite
most ridiculous thing.
My favorite point of the whole night was actually not playing. It was jumping into Jason and Harry's game after I realized that Dave had to go, and I literally got in the room seconds before Jason threw 19. Harry blocked 16. And then turned around with no cards in hand because his tunic ticked to 3, was able to actually swing for 4. And it was just the most magnificently asinine, stupid thing ever that you would block that much of a giant Bravo attack
and still get damage output on
and still get the poke.
I'll be honest. I played Harry when I did the merchant thing when I met all the guys, and he was playing Dorinthia, and it was a match that I knew I was going to struggle into, just the way he plays Dorinthia so clean. And I had the Towering Titan on turn 2 or 3, and I had all blue. I'm like, I go, Harry, I'm throwing her down. I don't even care. I have nothing in Arsenal. I got to pull a card on my neck. I don't care. I'm throwing it down. I've never played this card. So I throw down the Towering Titan, pull a Crippling Crush, throw down a Crippling Crush, was one resource shy to have it as a dominate. One resource. If I could have got a couple more blue cards on my draw, I would have had it. So then I swung in. I'm like, I'll just go for 19, just a small 19. He's like, interesting. Boom, 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 boom. I'll block 16 of it. I'm like, okay, well, this was a good game. Because I just wasted 3 turns on that.
Do you want to talk about any of your other matchups, or are you just kind of like high school football quarterback hanging on to that?
No, it's definitely high school football quarterback. I've played against so Toby's Rangers much better with Crucible, because I was able to beat his Ranger deck in Blitz with my Bravo deck. Very, very close. I think I had 1 or 2 life is what it came down to. On the new setup, the way you can plunder Nimblism, it is Ranger's really damn good. And then I played Wizard, and I've been waiting to play Dave's Wizard for a long time, because that's the deck I've been working on the most and want to get good at. And just to play him and to watch his sequencing on it, I've learned a lot. And I mean, on stream, I ran it 4 or 5 times. I played it in a day, and I think everybody's had to just endure my Wizard, because it takes so long to learn that deck that I'm just going to keep grinding it till I start to get.
You got to practice that deck too, because there's a lot of like little nuanced. Like when he sent that in our group chat that we're all in, like when he sent that like list of things to look for and do, it's like, yeah, that's so many. It's like, I mean, I guess all decks have that to some extent, maybe except for like maybe Brute or Guardian. They don't have as much. Brute's like, discard what you got and swing with what you got. Like, but
I did tell them next time, because Mark was unable. Well, I shouldn't say Mark was unable. We didn't know Mark had the capabilities to get his TTS working, but now he does. So I told him next time we bring our Brute. So they better be scared, because we're bringing our Brute.
And this dude with like the weapons hanging in the background.
Do any of their guys ever play Brute?
They did say, yeah. They said they have a guy who plays Brute, but not much.
They have it. Okay.
But
I was curious, because I'd be curious to see how he rolls it. What I could learn from him. I assume. What's that?
Oh yeah.
No, I just have more comments on that, but I'll wait till we get later and then go
Oh.
over those.
Even if they're
Yeah.
not playing the deck, though, like I got good feedback
Yeah.
from Toby and Harry
From all of
too.
them.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
like one because they play into these decks too that are at a competitive level. So,
Yeah.
or highly
I think
competitive
that's
level.
that's a really important thing too, is understanding sometimes even the little nuances of playing into certain decks is something that's really important. I think that is something that we continue to learn, because again, we've played a lot of games, I think, for the amount of time we've played, but I think in comparison to people who have played hundreds of games more, we obviously haven't picked up all the nuances of other decks per se. So
Yeah.
we're still, the learning curve sometimes is what to block and what not to block in certain decks, when to take certain damage.
Mhm.
And I think that was something that I think sometimes I know the exact moment to take damage in order to turn a game, but I felt
Mhm.
like for me it's more 70-30. About 30% of the time I realize afterwards that I either made a mistake
Yeah.
or it ends up being a neutral decision where nothing really is gained. And I felt like there was never a moment where one of those guys absorbed 10 damage and it didn't completely change the tempo of the game.
This is what it
Yeah.
is. All right. So this is where I think we're at, right? So as we learn with any card game, and we saw it when we first started picking up DBS and getting like really competitive with that, but you get to a point where like you've got the rules of thumb like down, or like you get through your learning phase and you're picking up these rules of thumb. Like for this game, it's this is the attack. I block his second Kodachi swing every time to stop him from getting his mask draw. But I think that where you start to get to like that level that Harry and Toby and we didn't play Lee, but I'm assuming like if he
And
plays with
Dave.
those guys and Dave, when you start to tiptoe closer to that level of competitiveness, you get there by knowing when to deviate from the rules of thumb. Like you learn what they're running to the point, and you understand their deck as well to the point where okay, he's got 3 cards in hand. He's had that one in arsenal for 2 turns. He's playing Ninja. I'm not going to block the second Kodachi because he's probably coming at me with like at least a 2, whatever, like just as an example, right? Like when to deviate from the rule of thumb. And I feel like that's where we're starting to get to is like being able to read the game a little more.
I don't think I'm at a place. I think I'm just getting to a place where I'm starting to be able to read more what the other person is doing based on some of the actions they've taken. And I have to say that it was a moment where Toby literally looked at what I was doing, knew I had a card in arsenal for a couple turns, and called it.
Oh, he called your card twice, didn't he?
He called my card twice on me in one game. I played a card out of arsenal and I put a different one in and it sat there for 2 turns and he called it on me again. And I was like, wait, what? How do you know what card is in my arsenal? And he said the pace based on basically the pacing of the game and the things he had done and the lack of response to that, and then what I had done and the lack of response from my arsenal, he knew what card was in there.
Yeah, he's like, if it would have been this card, you would have played it after this attack. If it would have been this card, you would have done it before this attack. If it would have been this card, so I knew it was this card, and then I knew that you were going to play it on this. And it's like that's that level that we are not at, because we just don't have the experience in the people that. But definitely helps.
I mean that takes time.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely, it does.
Mm-hmm.
And to Blake's point, I'm getting to the point where I know when to block. I just don't, because it's not fun. I want to keep all my cards in attack.
I am all for you continuing to let me win. So that's
Wow.
I'm all for that. Keep giving
Beating
me
up
that
on
card
my poor
draw.
wizard.
Yeah. Keep
My
giving
poor
me the card
wizard.
draw. Keep letting me combo and hunt with Katsu. I'll take that all day. Mark, what'd you do this week? Give us a little insight into the life of Mark. I know you went catfishing. I feel bad that we're talking about all this fab stuff. I just want to give you a moment in the sun. I want to. How was your week?
My week was great. I played I think exactly 0 games of fab, so I have lots of input this week. And
I want to know about the catfishing.
I got all the hot takes. Yeah, I'm like, well, I got time to kill before getting on the podcast. I might as well go fishing.
There you go.
It's intense, but no catfish.
Okay.
Just the smallies?
Were you noodling?
Yeah.
For you?
No, I should have went noodling. That was a trick. Yeah, should have done that.
We'll have
stick
to
your arm right in there.
For anyone, I was gonna say, for anyone who doesn't know what that is, I don't know if it's as popular in Minnesota. If there's many spots, I know that my family in Nebraska does.
It's like there are very few flathead up here to noodle for.
Yeah.
Got to be
All
the
right.
right kind of catfish. Yep.
Yeah, that was Mark, everyone. So we'll get
Yep.
into
Yep.
we'll get into our thoughts on Crucible now that we've had some time to play with it. How we feel about the set. So we'll go ahead and give Jason the floor first this time around, since we gave it to Blake last time.
Yeah, I guess where I'm at right now is, and this is even when we were talking with the Aussies of what they thought, what we're seeing. I think Ranger really, really boosted up. I think it's going to be competitive as we see these road to national tournaments start to pick up here. I asked why we didn't see it there. Just what their thought is probably right. Just fear of not knowing the new card pool. So they're going to stick with what they know and put in decks what they know and not bring out some of these new decks. I think obviously Dorinthia is super powerful. I'm disappointed in Bravo. I feel like with how much intimidate Reinar has right now, that's a very tough win to get. And then with Ninja, you're just it's too hard to keep blocking all those tiny swings. And if you don't block them, you can keep swinging them with all your go agains that eventually you're going to pull off a big combo piece. And it just it's a I don't know if it's good in the meta right now. We'll see. I'm going to put my attentions to Wizard. Wizard got a lot of help after watching Dave play it. It can beat any deck. I mean, it's a damn good deck. And I was talking to Harry. I think he said he was about 50-50 with Dorinthia, I believe, something like that, into Wizard. So I don't know. That's kind of where I'm at it. I'm a little disappointed in Bravo. He'll take a back seat. I'm going to work on Ranger and Wizard, and then Kavdane for Blitz.
Mm.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that Ranger got is the arrows. It got so much value because a lot of times the thing that can be the downfall of decks that poke a lot is sometimes you just take a turn and just absorb it. So if you want to throw, I mean, I think even I do that sometimes. Sometimes I do that in Ninja. It's like I'll block one Kadachi and hopefully just stop your card draw for the turn, and then I'll let you whatever the last one is. I'm just going to take it. I'm not going to bother dumping a couple cards. I'm just going to eat whatever the 6, 7, 8 could be, because ultimately I know I can just absorb the damage because I'm doing just a math calculation. I ultimately what I'm doing is going, it's 6, 7, or 8, whatever. I can take that. I don't mind. What's scary about Ranger now is it got more arrows that have really devastating effects if they hit. So if you can stack a little bit more if you can throw a nimblism into a sleep dart or a remorseless and it hits, late game remorseless is backbreaking because now I'm just daring you. Go ahead and play all those action cards. Every time you do, you lose a life. I'm fine with that. I'm dealing damage on your turn. Or sleep dart, just neutralizing an effect on a hero for a turn. I think it completely cripples Bravo because Bravo wants to end games with that ability to push a dominate. So if I get my benefit no matter what playing Ranger if I sleep dart you, because either you have to do 2 or 3 or 4 cards to try and just stop that 6 or 7, 8 coming your way. Or if you don't block it, that's fine. Cool. You don't dominate me. I'll just block this one. I'll block your big swing. And it's so strong. I think Warrior didn't get a lot of cards, but it got exactly what it needed. 110% what it needed. It needed more efficient ways to give go again than just a card here and there or the bolters. And hit and run is absolutely absurd in that deck because it's not even a dead card if I draw 2. It's like, oh cool, I'll play this one, I'll give my sword go again. Oh, what's that? With my go again, I get to swing again. Cool. I have this second one, so I'm going to go ahead and give myself go again and +3. And hey, if I have Twinning Blade, guess what? And it just, the ability of the deck now to have even more consistent go against is absurd. And then on top of that, it got something like Spoils of War, which is another, hey, pay 1, give it +2, give it go again. And if you hit, go ahead and make a couple copper, and then you just throw a cash in the deck, and late game, I'm falling a little bit behind. I got that cash in hand. Let's turn this 1 card into 2 cards for free because I hit with a couple copper tokens on a card that benefited me anyway. So I think those two got huge boosts, and in different ways. I think Ranger got a lot of really good cards. I think Warrior didn't necessarily get a lot of cards that benefited. It got the same number of cards, but I think it got one specific card that does a ton in hit and run.
Yeah. I'm pretty happy with what Ninja got, honestly. Like that Zen.
Well, I mean, it
combo.
got 52 cards, so
I know. But like the Zen chain is super solid, and the fact that it all blocks for 3 is silliness. Like that's super nice. So just like the 0 cost really feeds into like the way that I like to play the Ninja prior to this set. And now that I get to like play even more so that way is really enjoyable. Just being able to
Jason would like to disagree with that statement. It's not enjoyable, Jason.
Well, it makes the Katsu ability more like more consistent. I'm not letting Jason talk because I know how he feels. It makes the Katsu ability more consistent because you're gonna have zeros in hand, and you got 2 different ends to your combo. So it's like, all right, I'm either going to in this matchup, I'm playing Rune Blade. Cool. I'm pulling my Fine Center, and I'm gonna drop my Heron's Flight for it, or I'm playing Warrior or Wizard. Like those 2, you just go Heron's Flight because you can call what they don't have, because Wizard doesn't run attack actions and neither does Warrior really. So it's fun. I do actually have a request. Toby, if you're listening and if you're watching the live stream, I saw that you had mentioned the snag. Excuse me, by the way, I just burped. I don't know if that came across on mic. I saw that you had mentioned the snag ruling, and you had sent us a quote. And it's not that I don't believe you or trust you, but Blake, do you have that quote?
Yeah, that's what he's saying.
Yeah. So the quote said basically what we were referencing was the fact that the card Headshot, when placed into Arsenal face up, gains +2.
Yep.
So
and then I
it
played a
goes
snag after
and then-
that when I had priority on the turn.
Yeah. I fired the arrow.
Yep.
I played the attack action. Dane played a snag in response. We believed that as a result, and again, if somebody can clarify this ruling even more, I'll read the quote that he gave us. My understanding is that the +2 was applied to the card at the point of being placed in Arsenal face up. Therefore, it effectively became a 4 or a 2+2 that was applied then. And Snag says it can't gain power.
Yeah, Snag says attack action cards can't gain power from their own effects or the effects of attack reaction cards this turn. And the reason that I'm the one who played Snag, and I'm saying that I don't think that Snag works against this card. But
yeah, the quote that Toby gave us. Yeah, the quote that
let me finish
Toby
the
gave
ruling.
us.
So let me finish what it says. So the part that made me think that is that in parentheses at the end of what I just read for Snag, it says this only affects power that would be gained after Snag has resolved. So at the point of that card saying it gains power, Snag hasn't resolved yet.
Yeah. Right. My understanding is that the application of the +2 happened when placed in Arsenal face up.
So anyways, now read the quote that Toby put out because I want to defend why I'm asking again. Yeah.
So Toby's quote was that, and this looks like it came from some other location, obviously, because it has parentheses. So it says, in doing this, you are able to treat Snag as a defend for 2 or more against cards such as Headshot, Push the Point, Flying Kick, and Light and Strike, and those unexpected pummel or razor reflex plays.
So I get that it works against the attack actions, but it's a factor of not trusting the source due to the verbiage that they used, because they said you can effectively use it as a defend for 2 card, and no game designer is going to use no person that is like really into the rules. And I'm super sorry if this is like a really well-known person that was just like taken out of context that is really well respected in the community. But the fact that they're using the verbiage of
Dane's arguing with the top designer again.
Right, yeah.
Lead developer all over. It's all over again.
Stepping on toes left and right. But the fact that they're using the verbiage, like treated as if it's a defend for 2, it's like no one's ever going to say that about this card because it's not even remotely what it's actually doing. So just makes me, I would like to, like, and I'm looking in the release notes and it doesn't say anything about like cards that are gaining power, or I don't even know if it, anyways. Toby, I would love clarification on it.
If anything, I think I would love a definitive clarification on Snag's application. That I think Snag is one of those cards that I believe I understand how it works, but if it does effectively negate that +2 that was applied when placed in Arsenal, I would just like to know how its application is actually applied in the stack and in the rules resolution and damage resolution.
And so another
That's why it would be
pre-existing
so
thing-
nice to
Go,
have
Jason.
the full rules book. I hope
I'm
they get
so
that
excited.
out soon.
I'm so excited for the
Yeah.
comprehensive rules. Yeah, I'm gonna
Yep.
just it's gonna be
'Cause
my
that'll
daily
help
reading.
That will really help clarify those little issues that we'd have a comprehensive rule book to go back to.
That'll be good.
Yeah.
It's been saying coming soon for a while, so I'm curious when it's actually going to come out. But then a pre-existing thing in the game that I'm 99% on that makes me think that the headshot does gain the power in the arsenal is it Anathos that gains power based on what's in drop, and at any point in the game,
Yep.
if that card's in drop, that hammer has that power. Right, Jason? Do you remember this coming up when we first started looking at the rules? You weren't paying attention. You were reading your phone, I think.
What I think
I was
what
trying
so
to
what
read it.
Yeah, I'd say what you're saying is that at some point, like if you pay for Anathos and then
Nope, I'm saying that Anathos says, Jason, correct me. It says if there's a card
If
that
there's two-
costs,
You have
Or
two that cost 3 or more, and so
It
if I
gains
can
2
swing
power,
with
right?
it, yep, I can
Yep,
swing
and
with
that's all
it
the time.
for
So-
4.
So
And then
my
if
argument-
I pay after,
with
then
the-
it'll gain
for
the
something,
2.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, that's
with
what I
the
was saying.
attack reaction.
But my
Yeah.
argument is that there's precedent in the game for cards gaining power outside of when they're attacking. So headshot gaining power while it's in arsenal before snag resolved is already a precedent set. That's my point and why I think that is probably how it plays out. But I don't know. That's
So
fine.
the only thing about that here's my only question on that is because that +2 is it's a modifier to the attack value.
Yep.
So when the attack resolves, you're giving it the +2 at that point because it came out from the arsenal.
Why?
So what's that?
Why is that the point you're giving it the +2? It says on the card while this card is face up in arsenal. Because
Yep, it gains
Anathos-
+2
that's
attack.
literally the point of me pointing out that Anathos gains power outside of when the attack resolves.
So then you would say that. So if you're saying that, you would say that the base cost of that headshot would be 6 then.
Well,
Or
then
it would
Anathos
be
doesn't
4,
work
but-
that way either. Then, even though it does.
But do you see what I'm saying?
I think
No,
I think
I
the
get it.
issue
But if
I
you're giving it +2, so when do you give it +2? Because if you're not saying it's a base 6, if it's face up in the arsenal, it's either
4.
you know what I mean?
Base 4 is what it's referencing, but yeah.
right. So it is a base 4, but if it's +2, what is
Well,
its base when it's coming
Jason's
out of
talking
arsenal?
about the hammer. I'm following him.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about the headshot. When you put
Headshots-
headshot into your
headshots-
arsenal, it's
it's-
+2.
It's base 2 and then +2. The blue one is that I play.
Okay, well, whatever one.
Either way,
red.
yeah,
So
it doesn't
I just
matter,
think
yeah.
I always think red.
Yep.
So it's a 4. If it goes into arsenal, it's +2. So when does that +2 resolve?
It doesn't specify.
So that's the question.
Yep, I know.
Is
and what
when
I'm-
it does
What I'm
resolve.
literally saying is that there's precedent in the game that it can resolve outside of when it's being attacked or when it's being used as a chain link.
Anthos doesn't solve that issue because
It's-
Anthos.
Yeah.
Anathos
no,
is
because
treated as
no,
it's a
less
6 power attack.
But it's not
Right,
though
but
because
not until
but it
you
gains its
swing, not
power
until you
in
swing.
the chain.
Yeah, but Anthos has no power if it's just sitting there. It's not until you swing, and then once it's swung, it can gain power there, or could have had it the +2 before.
And then I just misunderstood Anathos' ruling.
Yeah, it can have the +2 before it swings or after it swings. It can gain it once it's in the chain.
No, it can have it before it swings. That's my point.
Yes. Well, yeah, but I mean
that's literally my point.
that's okay, but well, I guess what I'm saying is like the question, but still the question that doesn't answer the question because cool, it has the plus, but here so it doesn't solve it because it's not an attack action. So snag has no effect on it. So it doesn't exist
Not
in a
talking about
world where
snag.
it's
I'm not talking about snag.
fantastic. Okay, but listen, what I'm telling you right now and what Jason is trying to say is this, and you're absolutely not listening to the point, which is Anathos is a whole different thing. What we're talking about specifically is the resolution of damage. Does snag interrupt the resolution of damage step and say
Correct.
it's not a 4 attack, it's a 2 + 2 attack?
Not
4 and 2 + 2 are two different things. Does snag interrupt the addition of the 2 later because it doesn't become a base 4 in arsenal? It's never a base 4. It's a 2 + 2.
+2. So
It's
when does
never
the
a 4.
+2 resolve? Because
in
that's
the
the problem is when the resolution happens.
in the damage step, if it resolves as a 2+2 to equal 4, if that's when the 2 is officially applied to the damage calculation, is in the damage step and not in the arsenal,
Snag would stop that.
would interrupt it because snag is already resolved because snag is an instant and
It has
damage
resolved
isn't
immediately.
calculated. It
That makes
resolves
sense.
instantly.
Okay, I'm
Because-
with you. That makes sense. Thank you for clarifying.
Yeah,
I
we
just
just
fill
don't
it
think
out
it can
for me.
resolve.
Yeah. I
That
think
makes
it's
sense
just
to me that's
it's
where
the instant
that
versus the later, like I think that's where the comprehensive rules will make a big difference is, do we ever add modifiers at any point, or do modifiers always resolve as modifiers?
There's a
Right.
step in the damage step where you add and subtract
Right.
Yeah.
power.
But if it's in
Yeah,
the damage step, Snag's already resolved and would block it.
Right. Yeah. Okay. That makes sense.
So snag
The fact
would
that it's
disrupt
not
all
using
that,
base
so,
power. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm with you.
That would be my only question.
Blake got sassy. That was good.
I was just trying to clarify. I was like, hold
He's
on,
like,
let me
"God damn it, Dan.
All right,
You're not
I
listening.
so before this week, Mark did play Reinar a lot. I do want to hear what he thinks about the Crucible increases
Crucible,
to
right.
Reinar.
yeah, me too. How do you like them dice?
Well, that's KO more so with the dice. That's
That's
that was iffy. But yeah, if he rolls hot, that's great. Reinar. I think that the game where I played that funky Reinar with you, Jason, did I do the club or the claws with that one? It didn't really matter because there was no
You did the
Blue
claws. Yeah.
I think claws. I think I did claws later with you. It felt I don't know. It felt okay. I think with Reinar, if you don't have them built to try to make the claws work and you just don't roll well on the scab skin leathers, then it just kind of, I think maybe the clubs maybe the way to go, but I don't know. I'd say I'm 50-50 still in the claws.
Right.
Otherwise, it felt okay. I guess I don't think any of the other cards like felt incredibly awesome that got added to it. Like most of the other attacks seem like they're trying to go for the go again. So if you just put them in Reinar with the club, it's nothing that much more exciting, I guess I thought. But
I'll tell you, I got worked at locals by a Reinar deck, and I blame it partially on not playing it into Reinar very often. Just not really knowing, but like he used Massacre on me a couple times, and that feels bad. Like I feel like some of the new not Reinar cards, Brute cards help quite a bit. So I'd be curious to see
if
what
you can get
come
them
up
to
with.
work,
And he
it just
used
seems like
2 or 3 turns in a row. I mean, so he got lucky drawing into them, but still, like
so many of them though. It's the whole discard one. So it's like if you can plan it out right, and that's the only one you have to discard. But a lot of times it just seems like you whiff on it. But
Reinar seems like a build, like it's a very build dependent deck, and it just requires a lot of getting just the right cards to make sure that your pull rates on resources and discards and things stack correctly, which is an interesting counter to the fact that oftentimes Brute feels like it's just swing big, hope you don't die kind of it feels like they're just trying to throw a bunch of damage at you and hope they can do it faster than you. But then ironically, the deck feels really intricate in the fact that if you don't build it just right, it's hard to sequence the deck to accomplish all of its goals.
There's a ton of sequencing. Watching Mark play that, and I think I've played it like twice, just when I was still like new and trying to figure it out. Like there's so much thought that goes into like what you actually pitch and what you have to do before giving them the option to randomly discard you. Like there's a lot. It's funny because it's not very brutish. I feel like Bravo is almost more brute like than.
That's what I feel like playing against Bravo. Yeah, that seems like he's swinging for just huge amounts more often, where Brute is more like if you can sneak that little bit extra in with the intimidates, and stuff.
Yep.
And even, a lot of time, like I said, the big thing too is that scab skin and trying to guess, if I want to roll it right away, possibly whiff on the one, you lose your turn. But if you can get them 3 action points and like attack and then get 2 claws in, then you're like sitting super good. So, but then it's all dice dependent, like Dane loves. So,
yep.
I don't know.
But I will say, in the good Reinar builds, and as you play it more, it seems like if it's hitting the way it should, I mean, you can get 3 cards out of hand on almost every swing. Because when I played him with Wizard,
I was dropping 2 cards guaranteed.
I was
turn.
yep. I dropped 2 every time, and it was 3 to 4. So I'd have to determine if I was going to do my wizard stuff. It was a really bad matchup for wizard just in general against that. I mean, if I didn't sequence something perfect together, it was really hard for me to stack the deck how I wanted to. So
Mhm.
I don't know. That was a difficult matchup, but something that as you run more like anything, you get to learn what they're trying to do and when to hit them.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
for sure.
and I think Brute's matchup is also, I mean, I think this game is really well balanced in the sense that it doesn't feel like your standard triangle. It feels like every deck has a good matchup or two, and then a bad matchup or two, and then 50-50 or two.
I think that's good
and
too.
which I
I
think
like
is
that.
really healthy in the game, because I think whenever I see Bravo played, I feel like Warrior just licks its chops, because Rhinar, maybe more than any other deck, is really card dependent, not resource dependent, but it needs more of its cards to be able to do its intimidates and discard the right cards. And its actions often are exactly as expensive as the cards. So if Warrior gains tempo in that matchup, Warrior just stays on top of it the whole game, because it can never let up and constantly be putting pressure on and never give it a chance to click and get going.
See, and I think a lot of that it's just going to be who's, like you said before, it's going to swing bigger, because
Yeah.
the Dorinthia is going to have her cards because it's going
Mhm.
to get intimidated, so it's not going to have anything left to block. So
Yeah.
I don't know that Reiner dumps hand ever. I think they just are
I
going to
think
see
you
who's going to outswing.
you have to, I think you actually, I think it's a bad decision to give Dorinthia turns where she goes in with all 4 cards. The worst
Yeah.
case, we're
She
almost
can
worst case
stack
scenario
so
with,
easily. She can
yeah,
she can go so
yeah.
tall with her attacks. It's insane.
Yep. You block one, if you put one card down on the table and basically call my bluff that you don't think I have enough cards in hands to reprise you and attack reaction you to death, and I do, and you're just dead. You just 100% are gonna eat 15,
Mhm.
and it's absolutely staggering. And then to Harry's point, if you do call my bluff and I do have it all, but you block with 2 or 3 cards, then I just go, okay, sounds good. Let's go to the next turn. You have 1 card, and I'm content with that too. Either way, I'm happy.
The fact that I just like on our live stream this week just grabbed your warrior deck, and for the like it was literally my first time ever playing warrior, sat
Yeah.
down with it across from Jason and lost on a misplay on my part because I forgot I had a card in Arsenal that would have won me the game. Like
Yeah.
that's silly to me that it's that strong. And like I'm not,
It's really strong. Yeah.
especially because I was like misplaying early too, because I was missing like go agains, like just stuff that I wasn't expecting, or stuff
Yeah.
that I wasn't used to having to look for in hand to like know what to save necessarily on blocking and stuff. And I caught on pretty quick. But yeah, like the fact that I could just like sit down with it and be like, all right, I'm gonna play this deck for the first time into this deck that you've been tweaking for. I don't think that that's a testament to like my skill. I think that's a testament to how strong Warrior is right now. It's silly.
Warrior's just punishing to play against, because
It's really good to play into though.
Yeah, it's a good deck to learn how to play into, because it requires you to, I think, step outside of your normal comfort zone, which is good. It forces you to play different lines than you're
Forces
used
you to play really tight, which I love.
Yeah.
I love decks
Yeah.
that force me to play a really tight game to have a chance.
Yep.
Because like you need to think through your blocks. You need to think through, is this a turn where I try to re-grab some tempo? Is this a turn where I go all in and try to like keep tempo? Like the decision is never to give Warrior tempo for a turn, because they will never give that back. But it's you have to. It's definitely like a slider scale, and you're like, all right, I need to keep it generally on my side for tempo. Like how do I keep it over here? Because the moment it goes that way, it's a seesaw. It just goes burp. And then Warrior's just like, I'm never giving you a chance to play cards again. So have fun.
Yeah.
It's good. All right. Any last thoughts on Crucible and how it's affected different decks? Oh, I want to talk about Runeblade too. I'm super amped. I'm putting that together. So if you guys have, anyone listening has any like decks that they've been having fun with, I've got like a mental list and like the skeleton one in the database right now. But that's what I'm going to be running on live stream this week. And I think I'll probably we'll get a constructed match going for Viserai for the Crucible update this week or this coming week. But if anyone has any deck lists that they want to share or have me mess with or whatever, I'm super excited to sink my teeth into Viserai a little bit. But that's my last thought. Any others?
I got nothing.
All right.
Crucible.
Nope.
All right. Well, guys, thanks for listening. Another week down of Talking Fab. So feel free to check out topdecktcg.com. They're the partner that we get an offer code through. It's Outcasts Haven, 10% off your total order. And he messaged me and let me know that there's a restock coming. So make sure that you're keeping a lookout for that. He told me that he's getting a couple more cases. So they'll have some more up, if not already. I haven't checked today, so I don't really know what their stock is looking like, but be on the lookout there. And until next time, you guys have fun playing the game, and we'll talk to you more next week.